Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, we have to gather wrong, grab a seat and sit down, pay attention. Education, liberation, we have to stand strong. Benskop upon the radio, lively up the program. Everybody call somebody and let them turn and tune and pon the radio and catch the boom song. We boom it up already, we have to boom it up again. Expose and reveal him. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Benskop stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop, who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Mark Benskop.
Yeah, my name is Jasmine Caldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today I can't take it, so I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
This is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you, so call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Basement, level vibes with another one, straight up, blackness aye. Who tell the truth? Mark Benskop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Benskop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Benskop, straight up from the root. Margaret stop. Who tell the truth? Margaret stop. Defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop. Radio station is the fruit. Margaret stop. Straight up from the root. Margaret stop. I do it for the love. Him not do it for no money. Straight up. Him attack. Educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio. Catch the vibes. It's integrity. Straight up. Ben Scott stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can hear, the dumb can talk, the cripple can walk. Boom. Who tell the truth? Margaret stop. Defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop. Radio station is the fruit. Margaret stop. Straight up from the root. Margaret stop. Who tell the truth? Margaret stop. Defend the ghetto youth. Margaret stop. Radio station is the fruit. Margaret stop. Straight up from the root. Margaret stop. We have to gather wrong. Grab a seat and sit.
All right, hey, guess what? It's 9 minutes after 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, 9 minutes after 9 o'clock Guyana time. That's in Guyana, in case you guys are wondering where is Guyana. And look what's happening there. It's, well, before we get to this lunatic in front of this map, this Venezuelan map, depicting a large portion of Guyana, let me say again that it's the 4th day of January, and it's the 4th day that I am actually being strong. No Red Bull at all. Absolutely none. We have Shalon Washington, and we haven't seen her since last year. Since 2023, she is with us in 2024. Wayne Caesar is on a job function, and so he will be back. Should have been back tonight, but we'll give Wayne a break. All right, so the Mickey Mouse out in St. Vincent, Ralph Gonzalez, you see him there, the Mickey Mouse, that's what he is. He sent a letter to the Mickey Mouse in Guyana, Irfan Ali, explaining that he didn't know what he was holding. I don't know, these guys are weird. Lemon, what is your take on this? But before that, let's... if Lemon, yes, Lemon is with us. We'll get to Miss Washington. Our executive producer say Miss Washington keep pressing the button and the red light going on, indicating that she's in the studio already. Yes, thank you so much, Miss Washington. Lemon also is in the studio with us. Cheers, Lemon. Wait 1 second, Lemon. Yeah, yeah, there you go. Push your hand. Don't let him.
Cheers.
Cheers. A little more.
Cheers.
There you go. So you guys see, Lemon is in the studio. Lemon came back to say thank you to all of you, and to say to you guys, he is starting his first year in a junior college after he got his GED. So Lemon is here. Lemon, we just want to say congratulations. And that is what we do here at Bench Up Radio. All of our workers, we ensure that we get the best out of them. And let me say, let me thank Washington's law firm has contributed to sending you to college. Cheers again.
Thank you very much.
Yep, you're welcome. So how does it feel that you're going back? You got your GED not so long ago. You're now in college. What's going on, Lemon?
Well, I feel great. I feel thankful. Feel excited.
Yep.
And I will do good for you guys.
Yes, thank you, Lemon. What are you majoring?
Well, I'm not sure as yet, but soon I'll let you know.
Soon, please let us know. Lemon, and good night, Miss Washington. How are you?
Good night, Mark. I'm well, and good night to all you listeners. And good night to you, Lemon.
Good night.
Lemon is off to college, community college. Got his GED. He's proud. Got a little donation, and he's happy. Lemon, what's bothering you? What's happening in Guyana as we start off the program here? Lots of things bothering you. You were talking to me about that. What's bothering you?
First, I want to say good night to our fans and.
Are you saying orphans or earfan?
Our fans.
Yeah. Oh, your fan.
Yeah, 107.1 fans.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to everybody. The thing that bothers me in Guyana is they install PPP, Jagyo, every Thursday, going to the zoo and talking a whole heap of garbage,
Yeah, so that's bothering you. Yeah.
I try not to listen to him.
Yeah. That's good, Lemon. That's really good that you try not to listen to him. Just a total waste. Lemon, what is your take on this guy getting jail time for 2.3 grams of cocaine? Basically, he's a user, and they just...
Well, who the PPP, who the police should go after? They're not going after, and it's a shame, that's a junkie. I mean, sorry to say that, but...
Yeah, thank you.
They're going after the small man.
Yep.
Wasting taxpayers' money. Go after the Mohammeds and those guys.
Yep.
The big drug dealers.
The drug lords and all of them, and the money launderers and those who are wanted by U.S. law enforcement agencies. Quickly, Lemon, before you get back to work, because we have Miss Washington here with us. What is your take on this here? Oil-rich country, but you have a man who is supposedly wanted by U.S. law enforcement agency is giving out motorbikes to post office when in fact the corrupt government of Guyana should be doing this and no private sector person, whether they're wanted by US or not, whether they're into money laundering, drugs, whatever is irrelevant, but no entity should be doing this in a oil-rich country. What is your take on this?
Well, I think that's a shame.
Propaganda.
That's a shame on the government, for somebody to donating scooters to the post office. It's a shame. The government should do that. That's a government job. They should donate bikes for the post workers or cars. They're going to share the mails.
Yeah. Thank you. Lemon, we'll touch on this later on, but let's get a pong, man. A pong. Don't let it be your face.
Thank you.
Mark, everyone is wondering why they're not seeing Lemon's face.
Yeah, they will get to see Lemon sometime. And as we think so, Lemon could get up and go over to the other side of the studio. One of these days they'll get to see Lemon, but not today. Not today. They're not going to see Lemon today. Good evening to all of you guys. Good evening to Miss Washington and all of the regular listeners. We are grateful for you guys as always. Miss Washington, oil-rich country. What is your take on somebody just giving the post office bikes to do their job when the regime should have been doing this? And not only someone who is actually, according to information, is wanted by U.S. law enforcement agencies. Your take?
I think this highlights the issue that most developed countries tend to pay attention to, which is when you're serving in certain position, you're serving the public, certain things are prohibited. And in this case, this postal worker is accepting a tool of trade. So that bike is going to help her to perform her functions as a mail deliverer. So it's not something that is typically encouraged, just for the reason that she's delivering mail, she's performing a service to the public, And that is going to cause or may influence her in one way or the other to have loyalties to the Muhammad. So when she's delivering mail, in other words, if the Muhammad have mail, it's going to take priority over somebody else's mail. This is why it's generally not encouraged for public servants to accept certain things from private individuals. In this instance, this is a corporation, or well, not even a corporation, but it's an entity engaged in money laundering, engaged in drug dealing. There's a lot of allegations against the Muhammad's entity. So it's something that the government themselves should have stepped in and, not encourage, but rather the government should be providing the tools of trade to its own employee versus having somebody with questionable business to engage in such a charitable donation. It's not even a charitable gift because, to be honest, he's given it to a public servant. And that's something that should be looked into because it could cause her to be influenced one way or the other. He may tell her, you need to take out somebody's mail and don't deliver this mail, or make sure that my mails are delivered at a particular time. These are all things that could influence the postal worker's performance of her responsibilities. And therefore, the government of Guyana should not encourage it. It should be frowned on. If he wants to donate something, donate it to the government. The government can't take public donations of this nature, especially since they know that the Mohammeds are engaged in questionable business activities.
Questionable business activities said to be wanted by U.S. law enforcement agency on an extradition requests that were recently signed. And no government agency should be allowed to receive gifts from public service members of the private sector, especially questionable members of the private sector, like the Mohammeds are said to be wanted by U.S. law enforcement agencies. The lawlessness of the regime must stop, and this must not be condoned. I hope that those in authority, because others outside of Guyana, agencies outside of Guyana are looking at this, and it's not looking good at all. On the corrupt PPP regime. In fact, they just don't care how things look anyways. So we are keeping an eye on this, what appears to be regular events in Guyana with these guys, the Mohammeds and them, who are, again, as I've said to be wanted by U.S. law enforcement agencies, and extradition requests have been signed for them to be taken to the U.S. So that's just what we have been hearing according to a source. So let's keep an eye on this. The former British High Commissioner to Guyana is back, Mr. Greg Quinn. We're told that Mr. Greg Quinn arrived in Guyana maybe either last evening or today, and so to take up the position acting for High Commissioner Jane Miller, who is said to be off maybe for, I don't know, maybe forever. I don't know. The question is whether Miss High Commissioner Jane Miller has been recalled. We don't know, but there should be answers on what is this arrangement to have Greg Quinn, former High Commissioner, UK High Commissioner, to be back in Guyana, and not the deputy to be sitting in the High Commissioner's chair, acting in that capacity. Miss Washington, this is the first time that we're hearing that a former High Commissioner is returning to sit in place to act for the commissioner, the current commissioner, and not the deputy. I'm not going to confuse things. Is it a little confusing there for you with regards to this arrangement?
I guess it's kind of confusing. If something is not typically done, the question is, why is it being done at this point? Is there some ulterior motive? Is there something that we are unaware of? Why isn't the deputy allowed to temporarily fill that position until the right person comes? A lot of questionable things has been happening in Guyana. So when I see something of this nature, I usually say to myself, this is just another day in the corrupt country called Guyana, in our corrupt home country called Guyana, because we've been seeing a lot of questionable things happening. And when people speak up about these questionable things, it's a problem. It's an issue. So I guess, Mark, we just have to keep our eyes open, and the people of Ghana just have to keep their eyes open. And if something doesn't seem right, then it's probably not right. If something seems questionable, it probably is questionable. There's probably an ulterior motive for not following the proper protocol that is typically followed in a situation like this.
And it is, and we haven't seen anything in the press concerning this at all. It should be out there, other than the fact we saw something in the Village Voice News. The Village Voice News is the only one that actually carried that. The Village Voice News is the only one that actually carried that, and so we're glad that the Village Voice has, but nobody else has done that. So, Ms. Washington, indeed it is, but the deputy, who has 23 years, I believe, of experience, for some inexplicable reason, is not sitting in that position there at all. I don't know. Where do we go from here? We have some other issues before we get back to this High Commissioner situation. This young man, this gentleman, was actually picked up. He was driving his bus. He was caught at a roadblock, or at a roadblock. He was actually picked up by the police. The police claimed that he was wanted by a magistrate through some bench warrant or whatever it is, arrest warrant. They picked him up. They took him back to the set court and sentenced him to 6 months in prison. Turns out that he's the wrong man. What may have gone wrong? The magistrate didn't know, of course, probably can't blame the magistrate. This guy obviously had no lawyer. The police thought he was the man that they were looking for, sent him to prison. He spent 4 days. What is your take on all of this, Miss Washington?
I just think there's a disorderly, confusing police force that we have there. They don't take their time. They're not properly trained. They don't investigate properly. They just take actions. It's like take actions, then ask questions later. Like act and then investigate later versus investigating and then act. I think this is negligence, gross negligence on the part of the Guyana police force, gross negligence. And then to put the person in front of the magistrate, minimally, the magistrate has a responsibility to ensure that they read the file jacket, ask questions, ask the prosecutor questions. So I'm not going to exonerate the magistrate completely, because the magistrate is also held to a particular standard that the magistrate must ensure that he or she follow that protocol before sentencing any person. You would think a magistrate would ensure that they have the right defendant before them, before handing down a sentence. So if I knew who that magistrate was, I would say the magistrate needs to be much, much more cautious. She needs to be reprimanded for taking such action without properly appraising him or herself of the facts. Ensuring it's the proper defendant. Ask the defendant's name. You're supposed to state your name under oath. So minimally, the magistrate is at fault here to some degree, but the police force is a greater fault. Picking up the wrong person. It's called false ID or false identification. They mis-ID this person, and this is a great tragedy. It's very, very unfortunate. So I think this young man, or whatever, this man, not young man, but this man is doing the right thing. Have his attorney sue. False imprisonment. This is wrong. He was falsely imprisoned. And I don't know if he was assaulted and there's any other lawsuits, other claims other than the false imprisonment claims that people have.
4 days in jail. 4 days in jail. Magistrate apparently asked no question. I'm sure this man didn't sit there or didn't stand there, in court. And he must have said to them that, look, I'm not the person. The magistrate probably didn't ask, do you have a lawyer? What's happening? He obviously would have said to the magistrate, I am not that person. And so, to have a prison officer to do the investigation for the police, in order to say that this is not the guy, they found the correct guy, took both of them back to court, and according to Gordon News' website, they offered no apologies, nothing to this guy. Just say, hey, go now. That's it. He has since sued them for $35 million. I don't know, where the ratings are going, I hope he gets that money and probably more. Are you optimistic?
I mean, I am, because I know that there are some judges who properly dispense the law without fear or favor. So I'm sort of optimistic for him. It's like I said, the magistrate is at fault. The magistrate should have asked questions, should have investigated, should have looked at the file jacket. And like you said, the poor man probably said, that's not my name. That's not me. And the magistrate probably just shrugged him off, ignored him, ignored his pleas. So the system, I mean, there's some things that needs to be changed to make the system more transparent and to hold people, hold magistrate, hold judges, hold police officers at a higher standard than what they're giving. And you, the public, you, the people of Guyana, are the ones with that power, with that authority to hold these so-called officials, government and public servants, hold them accountable for you whenever something happens. Remember, you're not there for them. They are your servants. That's why they're called public servants. Even that office of the president, it's a public service position. So it's up to you. It's your responsibility as Guyanese to hold these people accountable for this kind of gross negligence.
Absolutely. Well said. 28 minutes after 8 o'clock. Shellon Washington, attorney at law. And we do hope, we wish this gentleman, Rodney, all success in his lawsuit against this corrupt police force and corrupt, for the most part, judicial system. I noticed there's someone in the audience by the name of Kurt Paris, and Kurt Paris has been at this like practically all week. Mr. Mark, I have a recording of a lawyer that I will like to send. If you have a recording of a lawyer that you'd like to send to me, inbox it to me. You keep announcing it since yesterday, since today. You keep announcing it. I'm beginning to wonder whether you're serious or not. If you are serious, just inbox the thing to me. And that's it. There's no need to keep repeating it since yesterday, all day yesterday, then you're back again today. I don't know what's happening. But let's get back to the deputy. This is the Deputy British High Commissioner, Judy Omozan Kiphoguhu. Forgive me, Deputy HC, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but took up her role as Deputy High Commissioner to Guyana and non-resident Deputy Ambassador to the Republic of Suriname in June of 2022. Ms. Kobogoho moved to Guyana from Russia, where she worked as Deputy Consul General in Ekaterinburg. Ms. Koboho is a career UK diplomat. Let's touch back this matter, please, Ms. Washington. She has been overlooked. The current High Commissioner, UK High Commissioner to Guyana, Ms. Jane Miller, is on her way on some vacation for a few weeks, 4 months. I don't know, but we can just speculate. And I've heard from some quarters that maybe she was recalled. I don't know. The UK High Commission's office need to issue a statement about this. But instead of having her deputy to sit in the position and act in the capacity of High Commissioner, she's not. They brought back to Guyana a former High Commissioner, Greg Quinn. Do you see race as being a part of this, or you won't want to assume that? Which one?
It's a very difficult thing to say because I'm seeing several factors interplaying in addition to race here. Just to recall that Guyana it's in a very strategic place right now in history, in that there's oil and Guyana is a very wealthy country. And it served certain people, I wouldn't mention who those people are, but it serves certain people to ensure that the status quo is maintained at all times, in that whatever control that they need to have over those entities that you guys have there leading the government, they have to ensure that that is properly and effectively done. Now, when you have a woman like the deputy who is well qualified, more than qualified to sit as the commissioner, and she's overlooked. That tells us that whoever is in control of things does not want transparency. They don't want anybody who might stand up for justice, who might stand up for righteousness, because obviously you have to have people who can move in accordance with what you inform them, what you tell them, how you instruct them, versus somebody who might stand up against you. And, you know, the deputy looks like the type of person that would prefer to do justice. She would want to see things done in a proper way. And an election is coming up. So even though it's just a short time, who knows if the deputy would, if the acting commissioner would remain longer, because who knows if the commissioner is going on medical leave? Who knows if she's going to undergo a procedure? We don't know. It could be for medical reasons she's leaving, and they want to ensure that whoever steps into the position and might remain in that position for longer than they're telling us, that that person could effectively dispense of the responsibilities that they will give to them, and they will ensure that the government act in their own best interest. That's why they're there, to ensure that the Guyana government acts in their own best interest, not in the interest of the Guyanese people, not in the interest of anyone. So, Mark, I think several factors play into this in addition to her race. Several.
All right. We will be keeping an eye on this situation. Whether, we're not sure as yet, but whether the High Commissioner to Guyana, the British UK High Commissioner to Guyana, has been recalled. We don't know as yet, but let us wait and hear from the UK High Commission's office on the situation with Jane Miller, the current High Commissioner, who is off for God in heaven knows how long. And again, Greg Quinn, the former High Commissioner, the UK High Commissioner to Guyana, is back, acting in the capacity of High Commissioner. Meanwhile, the deputy has not been given that opportunity to deputize. She was actually in Russia. She was a deputy consular general, deputy in charge of the IT section and so forth and so on. And just to give a little background on that. Now, to move on, and again, as I've said, we will be watching that particular situation. Can we touch on this here now? This guy, Ramlal, Terry Ramlal, caught with a little amount of cocaine and was sentenced to prison. Your take, please, from a legal standpoint.
Well, first of all, I find it laughable that the Mohammeds are walking freely the streets of Guyana. And then you have poor Mr. Ramlal, who was probably engaging in some recreational activities there, is arrested and he's fined $30,000. The laws need to be revamped because it's focused on the wrong things. Now, a person caught with possession of a certain amount of some sort of illegal drug, that person needs rehabilitation. That's what the government should be thinking about. Rehabilitation versus incarceration. Because I guarantee you, if this man is hooked on cocaine, once he gets out, he's going to go right back to the streets, purchase some more, and engage in the same conduct. It wouldn't change anything. So the government I think our laws are so archaic. It's old, it's outdated, and it was based mainly on the British system. And I think the lazy legislative drafters in Guyana haven't done much to revamp or update the criminal law in Guyana. And I think it needs to be updated because now, in this day and age, if someone is caught with a recreational amount of some illegal drug, the most appropriate thing would be rehabilitation, not charge them, but make it mandatory for certain people to go into rehab. If they're found, if you want to make it illegal, yeah, but don't fine and send them to jail, because how is that supposed to help to eradicate the problem? You're just condoning and encouraging the problem by fining the person and putting the person to community service. How is this supposed to help somebody who is using cocaine? I find it very laughable. And I say that the criminal law definitely needs to be revamped.
Absolutely. 37 minutes after 8 o'clock, Shellon Washington, attorney at law, her office located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York, that is. As we move on, something that caught my attention is we haven't heard the announcement coming from the Minister of Foreign Affairs in Guyana. And sometimes I wonder whether we do have a there is a foreign minister of foreign affairs in Guyana. The person to make this announcement that Van West Charles is heading to Caracas, Venezuela. Goodbye. But it came from the quote unquote foreign secretary, Robert Passad. What is your take on this jumping and positions just overlapping, and the fact that the Minister of Foreign Affairs, who happens to be from the same tongue you're from, Linden, Mr. Hugh Todd, you guys forgive me, Lemon needs some lemon for his throat. He's clearing his throat. What is your take on this here, please, Miss Washington, that they bypassed this guy, Hugh Todd, and Robert Passad, the nephew-in-law of Jack Dale, seems to be running things?
I've always said that the government of Guyana, we've always said that. We've always recognized that it's a one-sided government. It's for its own selves. It's for the people who are on the top. It's not for the ordinary man. And there's no equality. There's no diversity. And Afro-Guyanese are constantly overlooked by the government. They're overstepped. And what the government does is push their own people to the front. And if the Minister of Foreign Affairs is not being allowed to perform his duty and somebody else is being pushed over him, I think it's a problem. It's a blatant problem. And I think the people of Guyana are wise enough to recognize that this is an issue. Inclusion. There is always a situation where Afro-Guyanese are excluded. They're not given a seat at the table. And even their function, they're overstepping the person's responsibility with somebody else. They're overstepping boundaries. I'm not sure why family and friends are favored over the actual qualified people who are qualified for a position, who are serving in the position, who have the job title. But we know why. We already understand why. We understand the reason why. And I think people got to wake up and say at some point that this needs to stop. And you see, when people come out and they speak up against the government, you have Bar Jagdeo goes on his Thursday press conference and threatens frivolous actions against people in foreign countries for speaking up against something that is blatantly wrong. The administration needs to change. Allow Utah to function in his position. I'm not sure why Dr. Van West, or whoever they have there, overstepping the position that they're not qualified or they're not assigned for. It has to stop. There must be some sort of semblance or order to the way business is conducted in Guyana.
Well said. We noticed that Mark Phillips is not getting the kind of attention in that position. Jack Dale is basically just acting as though he's the president. He's everything. I noticed the other day, or was it, I'm not sure when, but he addressed Irfan Ali as president, but he addressed Mark Phillips as just Mark Phillips. I kind of smiled. It was pretty obvious that they have absolutely no respect for the persons of African descent in the PPP. And maybe good for them, good for those individuals who want to go over with the enemy's camp, so to speak. But it's not surprising that he would address Irfan Ali as president, and Mark Phillips, who is supposed to be the prime minister, addressed Mark Phillips as Mark Phillips. I'm sure it doesn't come as a surprise to you, Miss Washington.
No, not at all. I'm not surprised. I've always said it. We lack inclusion. We lack coherence in the government. There's a lot of bipartisanship. We have an apartheid country, but whether or not the Afan Ali or Bar Jagdeo wants to admit that, and instead of running around, clowning around, and just not doing what they're supposed to do. Maybe they should focus on a program that would promote inclusion, promote cohesive unity, promote, a government that represents all of the people, put those faces on the front line. Nobody wants to see Indo-Guyanese all the time on the front. There must be some sort of inclusiveness. And until they learn how to do that, I think we're just wasting time here. We're wasting time. We need to have inclusiveness in our government. How many races we have in Guyana there, Mark? Do we still have 6 races? Is that what they say, 6 races?
Yep, that's what they say. The fact that you hardly hear from Irfan, he doesn't have press conferences. Bara Jagdeo has all of the press conferences. Mark Phillips doesn't have a press conference at all. It bothers people in a democracy why Jagdeo pushes himself or whatever self up there so often. He can't just say that he's speaking as General Secretary of the PPP, because that's another issue. He has been General Secretary of the PPP since 2016. No elections, nothing. But these are the set of PACUs, and I do hope the PNC doesn't follow like the PPP and not hold their Congress when it's due. The PNC's Congress is already overdue, long overdue. But I hope the PNC sets that example and holds their Congress as early as possible. But those who want to attack the PNC and to say that they're undemocratic, I think there's more evidence in the PPP side that the PPP is by far more undemocratic and dictatorial than the PNC. If people could want to accuse the PNC as such, look at the PPP. There's much evidence of that. 2016, no elections to elect a general secretary, and Jagdeo sits in that position without people paying attention or even attacking him on that. Having said that, there is a matter that I want to bring to your attention to get your advice. It's about BM Soat. BM Soat is supposed to be selling cars, but God in heaven knows what's going on. What's happening there? Let's see here. BM Soat. I want you to listen, Miss Washington, please, and our listeners, to this young man who is crying out for justice.
Yes, people. I'm doing this live video. I'm upset, very much upset, because it's too long, and I'm being direct. BM Soat taking people money and pushing them around, and also taking people's stuff and not doing what they're supposed to do, not honoring the obligation. You understand? Now, December 29th of last year, or said January, I take a car from BM Soat. I give them the money, right? And I drive in and thing. Now, I went out to town and come in back. Come straight to pay them the money that I had for them. Now, I was intercepted on the road, heading to them with this car. When I reached there, the price changed. So me personally, I tell them, I don't have all that money on me. They say, you can't move with the car. I say, okay, look at these. Now when I go and pay them all the money now, right? I go and pay them all the money. They gonna tell me the car I'm walking, right? Long story short, I carry my mechanic. My mechanic tell me the man strip your car. Don't take back this car. The man violate the contract, right? Now today, after a whole year running around, I was very quiet and silent because I want to see if this man Ramesh have integrity, and this is how he treat everybody. I know you don't treat them coolie man, so you don't treat them coolie people, so you understand? I affiliate myself with certain group in this country, but because you're black, they think every black person is for a different settings, right? Now, you got $1.7, $1.8 million for me. He get catch with his pants down and he want to give me back 300 and something thousand after he violate the contract. Violate the contract, right? I take it to consumer fear. Take it to consumer fear, right? It's like a back and forth thing with consumer fear. And I'm asking everybody to share this video till it get a Melly Mel and everybody, you understand? Even with Travis Chase.
All right, Miss Washington, take a legal bite at what you just heard there, please.
Right.
PM.
As far as I understand it, he purchased the car from BM. So the car is defective because it sounds like when he drove the car, there was some sort of issue. And then BM so took the car, maybe to repair it. I'm not sure. But then
No,
it seems
from what he's saying there, Miss Washington, is he owed about a month or 2 months. And BM Soat intercepted the car and wanted to take it, seize it. And when they took it to the place, the man is saying here, hey, BM Soat allegedly tampered with his car, loosed his car down. He took his mechanic said this car they tampered with it.
But you see, Mark, that's why we need to stand up for changes in Guyana. Because number one, let's look at the contract. When somebody enters into a contract to purchase something, right? The contract stipulates that the payment is going to be made over a specific time, right? So he's already in the contract. They release the car to him and he's making the payment. If he misses a payment, the proper procedure is not to just seize that car. I mean, if this is what the law in Guyana is allowing these people to do, this is oppression right there. Because what usually happens in a country where the people who draft the laws have common sense is if you breach the contract, if either of the party breach the contract, the proper procedure is to go to the court and seek to repossess the car, not to take matters into your own hand and repossess the car by yourself. Because if that type of authority is given to anyone, people are going to be oppressed. And I'm not looking at the contract. I don't know what the terms of the contract says. But even if it did say that BM Soat had the right to repossess the car, that needs to change. And somebody should have gone to court and challenged it first of all. BM Soat has no authority. If somebody's in a contract with them, they've paid a substantial part of their money. BM Soat cannot just repossess the car under no circumstances whatsoever without refunding a significant portion of the money. Plus, the guy said BM Soat changed the price. You cannot change the price in a contract after you've already entered it. It just doesn't happen that way. If you want to change the terms of the contract, you got to ask the person if they're willing to renegotiate. And if the person says no, guess what? You're stuck into the contract as is. This is extreme oppression. And this young man needs to go get himself an attorney in Guyana who is specialized in contracts and to sue BM Soat. So the hell out of BM Soat. They cannot give him back $300,000 out of $1 million. I mean, I don't know how long it seems. I don't know if he said it's January. He said, Mark, that he had the car from January of last year. And it was in December. I'm not sure the length of time. But based on the length of time, that's another thing that needs to be taken into consideration. But BM Soat has no authority, absolutely none, to repossess that car without going through the proper legal process. Let me tell you something. The law says that you cannot be dispossessed of property or your liberty without due process. You understand? So any law that contravenes due process is a law that has to be struck down as illegal. So if BM Soat is drafting contracts that says it could repossess its car without putting you through due process, somebody has got to stand up, take that contract to court and challenge it. The contract is illegal. And what BM Soat is doing is illegal. And what you guys in Guyana need to do is stop purchasing your cars from BM Soat. Guyanese can shut BM Soat down. Because first of all, in a global market that you're living in right now, I can stay right here wherever I am in any country and purchase something from China right now. And right now, Amazon is in the process of selling cars. So people could purchase cars from anywhere in the world, from China, from Germany, from France, wherever. So you guys need to stop spending your money at BM Soat. Shut BM Soat down. What they're doing is oppressive. They're oppressing you guys. Their conduct is illegal. Somebody needs to go to court on that contract and challenge it. You're not supposed to be dispossessed of liberty or property or your life, even in any judicial system, in any legal system, without due process. Okay? That's a fundamental human right. Due process.
I heard that this gentleman went to the police station to file a report, and the police basically, they're harassing this guy because he went there to file a report. What's going on with the Guyana police force, Miss Washington?
Mark, the problem is he shouldn't have gone there because it's not a criminal matter. They don't even know how to deal with that.
Well, the car being stripped is theft.
It is. I agree with you, but don't forget, they still have a lien on the car. This is why you need to go and take it to the civil court. It's a civil matter. Don't go to the police. The police is illiterate. They don't even understand what's happening, and they're not going to help him anyway. So even if the guy stole parts from the car, go and get yourself an attorney. Get the contract void. The contract is void because you know why? It entails illegal provisions. If it says that BM Soat has the right to repossess, BM Soat should never be given any right to repossess anything.
But you know, there's due process, though. Even though they're fried pit, you mentioned it. There's due process. It has to be done properly, not just a bunch of thugs stop the man's car and say, "Hey, you owe 2 months. Come on, let's go in." No.
And Mark, you see, that's the problem. Guyanese doesn't know their rights. They don't know the law. So they have ignorance operating over ignorance. So when you have ignorance, it's like the blind leading the blind. So you have ignorant BM Soat who own a car dealership, the ignorant owner, who puts these contracts out on poor Guyanese who trying to make a life, trying to make a living. And you have this devil, this demon here, engaging in illegal conduct by enforcing provisions in a contract. Whether or not it exists, I don't know if it even exists, if there's a provision in the contract that says they have the right to repossess the car. And that's what people need to understand. You cannot be dispossessed of any of those things, life, liberty, or property, without due process. Therefore, if this is a fundamental principle of law, it cannot be overridden by any contract.
You know, the funny thing is, I'm seeing here, Yulee North is saying that the gentleman apparently said that he was told by an attorney that it doesn't worth taking the matter to court. Every such matter, I don't know what attorney can tell him that, but
Mark, that attorney doesn't understand fundamental principles in law, neither how a contract works. No attorney would tell you that unless they take a copy of the contract and read it first. If any attorney tells you that, you need to walk away and go find yourself a better attorney, because that attorney doesn't know what he or she is speaking about. You have to get a copy of the contract. I would tell the guy, send the contract to me. Send me a copy of that contract. Let me myself read it, because any provision that gives BM Soat the right to repossess, you cannot be. Fundamental principle. Life, liberty, or property cannot be dispossessed without due process. What is due process? Due process says that if you want to dispossess me of any of those things, you must take me through the court system in order to do it, and you must prevail against me. If you do not prevail against me, you do not have the right. So all those people in Guyana who this demon BM Soat is going to repossess their car, you need to get yourself a good lawyer who understands contract and stand up against this entity. Go approach the court. I'm telling you, God is going to allow you to find the right judge who understands fundamental principles of law and is not just the kind of cowboy judge who goes on Bam Bam Alley and drinks at the end of the day. It's going to be somebody who understands how the law works, who studied the law books, who studied contract, and understand how to deal with this type of case. Because obviously this is wrong, and BM Soat has been doing this way too long against Guyanese people. Every time there's an issue, they take the car back. What happens to all the money you've invested? You've paid millions of dollars, and you're going to have these people come and repossess a car from you. They're getting it. They're being unjustly enriched. Because if you think about it this way, if a car worth $2 million, right? You've already paid 1.5 and you only owe 5 and you don't have the $500,000 to pay. BM Soat repossesses the car, goes back and sells the same car for 1.5 million now instead of 2 million. They are being unjustly enriched because now they would have an extra $1 million over the 500 you would have owed them.
I want you to hear this part, Miss Washington, and that's so true, and it's an unjust situation. Also, we're hearing that Hacks Auto, lots of other car dealerships are into this skullduggery. It has got to stop. Folks like Melly Mel has been talking about this for quite some time now. People have been complaining to her about this particular situation. And this is the same company that is accusing Jack Dale, and those clunks are accusing Burke of extorting money from this same company, when this company has been allegedly extorting monies from hundreds of Guyanese.
Millions of dollars from Guyanese people. It's just that the people's eyes are not open for them to see. Because when they repossess those cars, they're not going to sell it for the $500,000 you owe them. They're going to go sell it for 3-4 times the amount. So they're being unjustly enriched.
One car they can sell.
They're extorting the people of Guyana.
The same car they could sell 3, 4, 5 times, repossess it, spray it up, sell it back again. But here's what they do.
Yet the government is encouraging this lawless conduct. And if the court system is encouraging this lawless conduct, this is not good. Somebody goes
corrupt regime, because these guys have contacts with corrupt officials in the PPP, so they feel they're above the law.
I do not care what contact they have. The court system, somebody must stand up. You have the court, the high court, you have the court of appeal. When you get to some one of them, you're going to find justice. Because I know the court of appeal has a lot of impartial judges. They might have one who is not impartial, but I know that they had a few who are acting that they never confirmed, who are very much in line with the law because they're awoken, they're not asleep.
Here, what's up with this deal here, and not just BM Soat is alleged to be part of this. They're bringing about 100 cars. I'm just giving an example. Car dealerships, corrupt car dealerships, and it could be that BM Soat falls under that category. Could be. And I agree with you. I agree with most of the people. People should boycott BM Soat with immediate effect. They've been doing this allegedly to people for far too long, including allegations of Hacks Auto and so forth and so on. We'll talk about that later. But here's what they do. As an example, they may bring in 100 cars. They go to GRA to clear those cars. They have to pay duties. Most of these corrupt car dealerships do not pay their duties for the cars. The cars are released. Then they sell the cars to Guyanese, and Guyanese have to pay the duties for those cars. Even though allegedly BM Soat and others do not pay GRA for their duties on those cars. And that is why oftentimes you hear GRA has to send car dealers a letter and say you owe us for duties hundreds of millions of dollars. So that is how these guys are allegedly ripping off the Guyanese people, taxpayers and citizens who go there to purchase a car with their hard-earned money. Some of these guys just do not pay their taxes. They do not pay their duties on these vehicles. And it's a sad situation. Mind you, that's the allegations leveled against BM Soat. It was in public that they owe GRA according to information. And that is how they do. They rip people off left, right, and center, allegedly. And so those of you who want to buy a car for the new year, go somewhere else that is not corrupt and buy a car. If the owner of, if this gentleman is watching, please ask him to get in touch with Miss Shellon Washington. She's on Facebook as Shellon Washington or Washington's Law Firm, or he can inbox me and I will put him on to Miss Washington's office so that she can take care of whatever it is. If a lawyer in Guyana is saying it doesn't worth it, I don't know, maybe that person doesn't worth being a lawyer. Miss Washington, unless you have something else to add before there's another subject I'd like for us to close off with. Is there anything else on this BM Soat allegedly defrauding hundreds of Guyanese out there?
I think, Mark, if Bar Jagdeo wants to look at extortion, this is what he should be looking into, and not the Burke situation, because this is mass extortion in Guyana. So there would be a class action against BM Soat. There need to be a class action, like a class of all those hundreds or thousands of people who bought car from BM Soat and had it repossessed unjustly. And any other car dealer who's been engaging in such fraudulent conduct, file a class action against them, because this must come to an end.
Now, let me ask you something, and I'll put somebody. I noticed there's a Navin Singh. Navin Singh, wow. Navin Singh is saying here, Mark, what that has to do with the government. It even happened in the U.S. You take a bite at that, please, Miss Washington.
First of all, let me just be clear that the United States has a strong judicial system, okay? And I have never heard of any instance where a car was just repossessed. First thing they do, if you stop paying the loan, they take you to court. They sue you, take you to court. And if you default, if you don't answer the complaint, then they get a default judgment against you. And because of the default judgment, it allows them to repossess the car. It doesn't happen like that in this country. They have to take you to court. Even if the contract says they're entitled to repossess the car, they take you to court. They do not do that without due process. And once they're finishing that summary judgment proceeding, then they send the repo man to take their car. You understand? It doesn't happen the way this person is saying. It happens in the U.S.
They think that in the U.S., they get the banks or the car dealership put a bunch of thugs in a minibus and intercept your car just like that on the road, stop it, and say, give me your keys. It doesn't happen
that's
like
wrong. That is wrong. It has to stop, because
I don't know where. You see, Navin's problem is he doesn't want to accept that these guys at BM Soat and others are closely linked to people in the PPP regime high up, and they believe that because of that, they can get away with anything. And they're also linked with senior police officers. That is why they think they can get away with anything. Navin,
I don't think he understands due process, because any item in this country that a lien is on, they have to go through, even though they have a lien. The lien just says that if the person doesn't pay, you're entitled to whatever the security is. If the security is a car or a house, whatever it is, it just says they're entitled, but that doesn't mean that they could just take it.
Navin just wanted to, he's just shocked that the regime, the corrupt PPP regime name is being, they're all buddies. Come on, Navin, stop hiding behind the truth, man. Stop it, please. Miss Washington, before we go, but let me just say, guys, don't spend your money at BM Soat. Don't do that. Don't spend your money where people are allegedly robbing you, committing fraud and all these sort of things. And not only BM Soat, there are other car dealerships like that. We'll give you the names. And if you guys have car dealerships that's committing fraud on you, send Melly Mel all that information. Send Rhonda all of the information. Or if you feel comfortable, I hardly have time, especially when I'm babysitting. But send Melly Mel all of that information and Rhonda Bob. Send them. Now, Miss Washington, I want to ask you this question here before we go. It's sickening, but I'll ask you this question. Take a look at this. Somebody saying Akbar as well. Akbar and all of these folks. Now, look, this is coming from the man who was accused of raping a little girl, raping and all manner of things to a little girl. So the person there, by the way, and Melly Mel, nice teeth. The person there is Melly Mel. And he's laughing, put all these photographs up with Donkey, with Melly Mel and Brazil or whatever else, and so forth and so on. This guy is a senior guy in the PPP. Senior guy in the PPP. He was just recently a senior minister accused of raping and buggery of a little girl. This is what he posted not so long ago, a couple of days ago. The evolving portraits of Smelly Smell. APNU AFC propagandist and threats enforcer. Family members sent treasure of trove of info. Alligator mouth. Alligator mouth. Talk to us a little bit before we go, please, about this.
I would say it's unfortunate that she can't get jurisdiction over him because he lives in Guyana and she's in a different country. But if she could have, my encouragement would have been to sue this idiot for harassment, because this is harassment. You understand? He has no right to put this up of that woman. I mean, like, we already know he has no moral scruples. We already know this from the rape allegations that he had against him and from his gross disrespect for women. He has no respect for women. That's the first problem. Because any man with respect for women, he doesn't respect his mother. If he has a wife or a sister, he doesn't respect them. Because to disrespect a woman in this nature means that you have zero, and we've seen it. We've seen the stuff he said in Parliament about the Muslim sister. We've seen what he said about her. We've seen what he did to this young woman. And we know some of the things, the dildo comment that he made in Parliament. So we know we're looking at somebody who has zero moral scruples. He has lost that. He is soulless. He is spineless to be making comments of this nature about a woman. He has no respect. He doesn't respect his mother, because to put this up here about Melly Mel, this is disrespecting your mother. Your mother should be ashamed that she even birthed you into this world, because you have no place here. You're ashamed and a disgrace to our race, to the human race, to the human category of people. You shouldn't be here. You're a waste. He's a waste to society, because to go up there and to shame someone in this nature is despicable. It's disgusting. And this is why Guyanese need to remove that honorable from in front of his name, because he's not honorable. He doesn't deserve to serve Guyanese, and Guyanese need to mark him that if he should ever show his face up in the public again, trying to sit in any public office, to disdain him, to chase him, to run him out, and never let him serve you guys again. Because this is the kind of clown, this is the kind of foolery, this is the kind of disdain that you guys condone. You shouldn't condone it at all. He lost. He doesn't have any moral scruples whatsoever. He should never be allowed to serve Guyana. Never.
And these are the first people they rush to say that people are bullying them. People, what about the cybercrime? What about the ERC, the Ethnic Relations Commission? All of these agencies, nobody is saying anything about this. But if someone for the opposition does this to anybody that's connected to the PPP, they jump up and cry foul, they holler extortion, all manner of corrupt stuff they go out there and put out there, propaganda stuff.
And there is a law that deals with this in Guyana, There is a law prohibiting you in Guyana from disseminating naked or half-naked pictures of anybody.
Yeah, but it doesn't apply. Once you are part of the corrupt PPP regime, and I want Navin Singh to know this, once you're part of the corrupt PPP regime, everything they're allowed to do, every single thing they're allowed to do, it's got to stop. One way or the other, it's got to stop. Your closing remarks, please, Miss Washington.
Mark, it's crazy. We're out of time, but, it's always a pleasure to be here and to enlighten folks in Guyana, because I want everyone to wake up and recognize the forces that you have exerted over you. And one thing you must always bear in mind is that if there's for any reason you're not allowed to speak on something freely, it's oppression. You're being dictated. So the way you know that you're dealing with a dictatorship in Guyana is if you're not freely allowed to speak up against wrongdoing, against oppressive conduct, against anything that that it doesn't seem right. Oppression against the people of Guyana, violence, killing, the Black Clothes Squad. If you see these things and then you're not allowed to speak up, you know that you're dealing with a dictatorship. And this goes specifically to something that was said on a press conference about targeting Guyanese overseas. And I want to let you guys know that one person is taking over the position of the DPP. He's taking over the position of the policy, the people who write the policy of parliament, of the lawmaking procedure. No one has that authority except parliament and the courts, the judicial system who enforce the law, to say anything as it relates to the law. And any conduct by any person going on, whether on TV or in the newspaper, telling people that they're going to enforce laws that don't even exist against them, that person needs to be pulled down and they need to be vanquished. You do not need dictators over you. You need to be liberated, and we need a true democratic society in Guyana. So I want to encourage you guys, keep your eyes open and keep fighting. Don't get tired. Don't rest. We have to get a country that is better for all of us, and we must not encourage forces to rule over us in dictatorship. We must pull those forces down so that we can have a country that is good and better for all of our generations to follow us. Again, Mark, it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much. Thanks to all the listeners who stayed here and listened to us tonight. Thank you so much for those who shared the program and spread the word. Thank you so much. It's always a pleasure.
Yeah.
Have a good night to all of you. And because it's the first time for the year, I'm seeing some of you. For those of you who celebrate January 1st as your new year, Happy New Year's to you.
Thank you so much. And for those folks, Sheldon Washington's law firm, it's in Brooklyn, 455 Utica Avenue, not far from our studio here, mind you. 455 Utica Avenue, Suite 2R, Brooklyn, New York. Her contact number is 718-877-3100. Medical malpractice, personal injuries, divorce somebody was asking about divorce. They wanted to contact. Francine Cruz was asking about divorce. I don't know at Francine's age she's divorcing. Landlord and tenant and all these things. Give Miss Sheldon Washington a call. And she's right here on Utica Avenue, right here in Brooklyn, of course. Thank you so much, Miss Washington. Appreciate your time as always. And
thank you, Mark.
Give my regards to Kui Koo and the others at the office.
I will. Thank you, Mark. Bye.
Thank you, man. Appreciate it. Yeah. So, Lemon, what is your take? You just heard all of these things, even while you're at work here. The minimum wage has risen. It's now $16. So I don't want people to think that you're not getting paid here properly. But what is your take on what you just heard on the hypocrisy in Guyana?
Well, I think people taking things too lightly, as Miss Washington will say, approach a court. Those just don't talk about it, approach a court.
Yeah, approach the court. And
get a good lawyer and approach a court.
How does that make you feel, though? I mean, I know you're back in school now after getting your GED, right? Congrats.
Thank you very much.
You're in college now. Your first semester starts in a few days' time. Gosh, we're so proud of you, Lemon. Any closing remarks to the people before we close off?
Well, I think the people in Guyana should stand up to the corrupt regime, and don't be afraid. Go out there, speak out, and talk about anything but bother you. Don't let them bully you by anything. Just speak, talk to a lawyer, and speak out.
Speak out.
You need any help? Contact me at 107.1 FM.
No, Lemon. Everybody's looking for Lemon now. But Lemon, thank you so much, you and your family. And again, I'm so proud of you. Finally got your GED. It took you about 5 or 6 attempts. You finally got it on your 6th or 7th time you passed the exams, barely by 2 marks, but we're still proud of you. You did better than most of those senior folks in the PPP corrupt install regime.
Well, at least at IFOC University,
I thought, you're proud of yourself. You're even better than the acting commissioner of police and those guys. We're proud of you, Lemon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, man. Good. And to all of you, we will show Lemon's face. When are we going to reveal you to the public, Lemon?
Well, as soon as possible.
Yeah, as soon as possible. We promise you guys, as soon as possible. All right. I noticed Clive Fraser is asking, do they really have honest court in Guyana? Good question, Mr. Clive Fraser. Good question. Good question. All right. So all of you, thank you so much. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. Don't forget, boycott allow those businesses in Guyana. BM Soat is one of them. Boycott, boycott, boycott. We'll give you a list of businesses that ought to be boycotted or should be boycotted in Guyana. But for now, on behalf of Lemon and all of you out there, we are thankful that you have taken the time out to watch our program. And again, if you have somebody who needs to head back to school and these sort of things, let them be like Lemon. Lemon, at his age, has gone back, just got his GED, and is now in a community college. His first semester. He's all set, he's all happy. And he's going to a real university, college, community college, not IFLAT University. Good evening to Rhonda Lane and all of you. We'll be back tomorrow, same place, same time. God bless you. And God bless that beautiful country, Guyana. Until then, so long.
Yeah, my name is Jasnity Kaldata Francis Vietnam, and since 1965 I become a voter, and I always place my ex next to the cop, and what they are doing today, I can't take it. So I have no more vote to give to PPP anymore. I'm not going to vote anymore no more. If they have to lose by one vote, they're losing it by data.
So, this is attorney Shellen Washington, owner and founder of the Washington Law Firm, located at 455 Utica Avenue in Brooklyn, New York. We're specialized in medical malpractice, personal injuries, matrimonial law, and landlord and tenant. If you're in need of legal representation, please give us a call today. The number to call is 718-877-3100. Consultation is free at no cost to you. So call us today to see if we can be of any assistance to your legal needs. Again, the phone number to call us is 718-877-3100.
Oh, Jesus Christ, if cost of living double, I don't know what happened. A pound of sugar is $300 already. Flour, everything gone up. Everything just raising. You gotta get about $40,000 for buy good ration. You gotta get 3 man now. A weekend man, a monthly man, and a fortnight man.
Gwendolyn, don't do that to me. That is not true love you cherry to me. No, no, no. Darling, I'm begging for some sympathy. On my knees and begging, please. I am hurt and badly squeezed. So give me some ease. For you went with Tally, then you gave to. I'll be coming home with Sammy. You gave to Sammy, look and share all the only, then you come running home to me.
tell the truth. Mark Ben stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Ben stop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Ben stop, straight up from the root. Mark Ben stop, who tell the truth. Mark Ben stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Ben stop, radio station is the fruit. Mark Ben stop, straight up from the root. Mark Ben stop, I do it for the love, him not do it for no money. Straight up, him attack, educating everybody. Big up my friends and big up my family. Turn on the radio, catch the vibes, it's integrity. Straight up, Ben Scott stands for unity. One people, one nation, one destiny. Free up the truth in the air, even the blind can see. The deaf can need it, don't contact the cripple walk. Who tell the truth? Mark Ben stop, defend the ghetto youth. Mark Ben stop, radio station is the truth. Mark Ben stop, straight up from the root.